Greetings, it is Build a Boat Saturday, and I am back in the shed finishing up the drafting. I just finished transferring this last station point onto wood. So again, making gussets, basically pieces of plywood that sort of patch the joints together. It's one on each side of each joint, so there will be two here. And so I've drawn the last one on plywood. So basically I do one, and then he cuts out four. He uses this as a template, cuts this out, uses it as a template to create the others. So, and we have 31 up, which of course stands for the upper chine connection. You see that's 163.4 degrees, and that's what that angle is. And then we've got the lower chine, that's 128.43 degrees, and that's, remember, that's a 5-inch piece that goes into a 3-inch piece, and that's here. 5 inches goes into the 3. So remember, these will get glued, and I'm still going back and forth between nails or screws. I think nails would be better, quicker, more efficient. Screws require a lot more work. So I've got a stack there that I drafted today. Got one more piece of plywood. I think we're going to need another piece too. I just did a calculation. We will need another piece because for each board that I've drawn on, it requires I need to slow down. For each board that I've drawn the template on, it will require 3 additional boards to complete what we need cut out, because we need 4 each. So if we got 1 here, we'll need 3 additional. And we've only got the stack here of about 10 to 12. If I get 12 long pieces out of each piece of plywood, because they're 8 inches, that would give me 24, and I think I need 29 or 30, something like that. Anyway, so we got a stack of wood here. We did some ripping today, and what did we rip, you ask? We ripped the floors. These will be the floors to the boat, and if you don't know what a floor is, and it's not the thing you walk on in a boat, remember the keelson will be here. The keelson that's outside that we're going to see in a minute. Keelson's here, and that's what that little notch is for. Well, the floor is a wood member that will span across from side to side, from port to starboard, and it will connect basically the 2 pieces, and it'll also connect to the keelson. That's what the floors are in a boat. Sometimes the floor is the actual floor where you would put planking, and of course in a boat that's called the sole. But in my boat, the floors are, well, the sole is up here, and then I've got a nice deep bilge. So this will be 2 by I think 2 by 6s or 2 by 8s that come across to tie the boat in together. But of course you've got the top. So very beefy made boat. But let's go outside now, see what's been going on out here. Got some plywood installed this morning. Had some little too much grass growing up, and I guess I needed to finally finish it, so had Raimondo put the plywood down, and we're sanding the keelson. She's looking good again, all repaired up, well, at least for the most part. So we're doing that. And this morning, early, I did another repair, and I want to thank one of my viewers. We did a repair last week down here. The one that you saw me do last Wednesday, Thursday was right here. It's about an 8-foot repair. It was the worst one, and during that repair we heard some cracking, and turns out that the cracking was actually that. And that's less deep. That's about 1.5 inches. You can see that. But what happened, and this is totally different. This is not like the other one where it was delaminating. Look at that. That's actually the wood fiber. That was the stress of having put that tension on it, force, and popping on the other side. Because you think about it, when we glued up the repair, we then had epoxy inside, right? And so it was more material on the new glued up side, epoxy, than on the old side. And so we put that pressure on there to try to squeeze that together, and it pulled apart on the other side. So what I did, I adjusted my method, and I began to do something. I'll show you here. What I began to do is, if I made a repair on one side, I clamped the other side. And I've ceased trying to get everything perfectly tight. So, I guess you can see, like, I left those spaces there. So when I began to apply pressure to the clamp, I listened. If I heard any kind of cracking, I backed off, because we don't want the other side to blow out again. And so what that has left us with is, well, that's not epoxy, that's wood discoloration. So I'm trying to show you. Okay, here's a good example. This is a repair I did this morning. And so, as you see, I did not pull that wood all the way together. As you can see, I did not try to get that joint all the way closed. What I did is I caulked it 3 times. I put the epoxy in, used the putty knife to push it in, caulked again, pushed again, caulked again, and as I applied pressure, began to listen, and when I heard any type of noise, I backed off. Now, there were clamps on the back side. I've since taken them off because I was trying to sand, but this isn't ready for sanding today. It says set up in 5 hours, and it's pretty good now, but I still wouldn't sand it. But anyway, I did have clamps on the back side. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with having adjusted my method. I think it's going to turn out great. So I forget your name, but big up. Thank you very much for your recommendation in terms of making me aware of the old glue. Actually, I heard that a long time ago with furniture repair, but I've forgotten about it. So thank you. So just to prove that the YouTube community is very helpful, not just observant and for entertainment purposes, but a community of people that share ideas and help each other along. So thank you. So what else we do today? We put one more batten up here because I had a little rain right there, but we've had some torrential rains and winds, and look at it. Beautiful. I actually put 3 more down there too, because we had a little water sitting. So hopefully we won't have any water sitting at all. And Ray Sandy the keelson. Hopefully next week my goal is during the week I will make those last 2 repairs down there during the week. And then I'm going to wet out the keelson. One of the mistakes I made, and I actually posted this, was vanity did me in. I really enjoy looking at this keelson. I mean, I don't know if you're a wood fan, but I love wood. I mean, no smart jokes there. But I love it, right? It's curvy. It's got the little gradation of wood fibers and stuff, and I love wood. That's why I'm building the structure of my boat out of wood versus using, steel or something else. But I think wood is just beautiful. So, since I enjoy looking at this beautiful thing, I broke a cardinal rule. I'm not building a wooden boat. I'm not building a boat where I'm going to leave the wood exposed. Because wooden boats, we use the fact that the wood will absorb water and maintaining its water tightness, mostly. I'm not building a wooden boat. I'm building a composite boat. So my design is heavily dependent on the fact that in order to keep this stuff dimensionally stable, I need to wet it out with epoxy. So from now on, whenever I finish a major component, I've got to wet it out with epoxy or paint it. Actually, both. So what I'm going to do with this, my beautiful wood keelson, I'm going to wet it out with epoxy and then paint it. Eventually it would have gotten painted. It's going to be way down in the bilge. You won't see it. But I let vanity get the best of me, looking at my beautiful creation and neglected a very important part, which is protecting it from the elements. And so basically it sat on the ground. I mean, it had the 2x4s under it, but it was weathered all winter, and through the moisture and the thaw and freeze and all that, had some minor changes in it, which if you had a 54 piece of lumber hewn from a tree, you would have been a lot worse. So I'm going to go ahead and cover up my beautiful keelson in a couple of weeks. But so what we're going to do is, Ray's almost finished sanding. We're going to pretty much call it a day in a little while. Make the other repairs down there either tomorrow or Monday, since it's a holiday. Well, got the day off. Make that final repair down here, which isn't much at all. It's not that shallow. That's probably a half a tube of that product. Let me show you something. What I didn't know, this was all my waste from that major layup the other day. All right? Now, this is a brand new tube. I hope you can see this. But if you look at this, you'll see that line, right? Everything behind this line is not any product. Basically, in order to dispense, to keep it separated, there's a partition from the front to here. It has hardener on one side and resin on the other. And so in order to keep that partition, if it would have been two separate plungers and it just wouldn't have worked. So the design is that the product is only from here to there. Really? That's all the product that's in here. And so if you look at proportional, that's about a quarter worth of a tube that I wasted. So when I went back and I've redone these, I've used a lot, not a lot less, but I've been a lot smarter in terms of how I dispensed that, because sometimes you rush thinking that you'll use, or rather if you've ever worked with epoxy, you'll know, you're always worried about it kicking off before you got it in place. So you kind of rush, and I wasted a lot. It's not happening anymore. Those things are $23 a piece from West Systems. So It's like $5 right there. And so I need that $5. That could be my cerveza for this weekend. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up and call it a day. Finish sanding. Start marking out my floors actually. And get back next week to building the boat. Hopefully I'll start working on that video from my fantabulous experience in Puerto Rico. Real excited about that, but I haven't started working on it yet. That's why I do this kamikaze style video, because I'm not that editing brother. Anyway, till next time, peace and blessings. Hope you're enjoying the beautiful weather. This dude is amazing as a carpenter.